Okay, the next exercise in Joseph's Return to Life for our March Madness is the one-leg circle, which is actually a fun one. We like that one, don't we?
Yeah.
Don't we?
Sure.
Okay, good. All right, so in the one-leg circle, you can actually do a lot of different variations of this one. You can do a knee circle. So if you wanted to keep your right foot on the floor and bring your left knee up in the air and tabletop, yep. And most of us know what the Pilates circle looks like as a Pilates ring, and so you can visualize a ring right here, and you're just gonna follow that ring with your knee. And this is one of the best demonstrations of mobility and stability, I think. And it's one of the easiest ways to explain it to people, is that her femur is mobilizing in the hip socket, yet her pelvis isn't rocking and rolling with it.
Well, trying not to.
Right. Can you take your hand off there and show them what it would be like if you did just let your pelvis go with you? Yeah. All right. So she's stabilizing her pelvis and mobilizing her femur, and she's actually doing a really great thing keeping her hands there, because your hands give messages to your brain. They give you that feedback on whether or not you're rotating. So I really like that. You can reverse it, go back the opposite way, because almost every time I ask a client to bring their hands down to their hips, it helps them stabilize. Like they go from more rocking to less rocking as soon as the hands go there, because then they figure out, oh, what am I doing and what can I engage to reduce that rocking? Yeah, good. Okay, go ahead and let that leg go down, and why don't we stretch the left leg out on the floor, and then she's going to bring the right leg up in the air and do the full variation of one-leg circle, which is to stir down, out, and around, and at the same time she's keeping that other pelvis, or the pelvis itself, from rocking and rolling. Now, one thing you have to kind of work on and find out for yourself is what your range of motion is. And so if I ask Katie to bring her foot all the way out here where she was about to touch the wall, can you see how she's not going to be able to keep that opposite side down? So when I say the opposite side, I'm saying her left glute is going to stay anchored to the mat, and as much as possible, the back of the left rib cage is going to stay anchored to the mat. So she knows her limits. She knows that by bringing that foot all the way out there, she's not able to do that. Also, just one thing I see particularly on Katie, and we were just talking about that, is that this thigh wants to pop up, so that hamstring is kind of fighting her a little bit. And she's wanting to go into a little bit of a pelvic tilt. What if you actually opened it up a little bit?
Open?
Yep,
Like
so
that?
tiny, yep, just about that much. Yeah, and for her, what I would even say is I would say keep this leg lower. Let's explain this a little bit.
Teach me.
Teach ya. Okay. So as Katie's recognizing some tightness, and I'm not going to say it's her hamstrings or where it is. We don't know that for sure. It would take me a little bit more assessment. But if we start to go up like this, can you see as this leg comes up, this thigh comes up? It's like a relational. Yep, and as this one comes down, that thigh comes down. You feel that? So her 90 degrees typically is here, right? But her 90 is going to be where this hip and thigh can stay connected to the mat without going back into this posterior tip, because as her pelvis tips backward or scoops underneath like this, tips this way, that's when that thigh bone comes up. And in a perfect world, it would stay nice and flat like that, but we don't live in a perfect world. We don't all have all of our muscles perfectly working like they should, and that's why we do Pilates, right? So for her, to keep this leg a little bit lower is going to be better for her. Okay, so more, almost like a 45-degree angle.
Here.
Yeah. And then
Still feels super grippy.
it is a little bit, but that's okay. Good. And then reverse it and go back up. And you're stirring that femur bone in your hip socket. Good. Okay, go ahead and put that foot down. One of the other things that we want to look at on this is what is that kneecap doing? Because sometimes that knee starts to turn out. Sometimes it actually turns in.
I know.
Yeah, she knew that. Okay. And so we want to try to keep that kneecap facing you the whole time. So it's just another thing that you can challenge. Can you show them what it means when the kneecap is turned out? So she's going to go up and she's going to laterally rotate, and that knee starts to go out to the right. The heel, you start to see her heel more now, right?
Yeah,
As she comes around.
Go do that.
Yeah.
I feel it right in here.
It works the medial glute a lot more. Yes, exactly. Now, another variation of this, which is really kind of fun, yet challenging, is to get that foot up there and make whipping circles. So those of you who are my advanced people, you've done this before,
I'm so
right?
bad at it.
It's hard, and what's really hard about that is trying to keep the pelvis still, because your pelvis will go right around with you. Okay, so which leg do you want to do? What's your best leg?
Oh, I don't have a best leg, but we'll do this one.
Okay. Nala, watch out. She's
No,
going to
it'll
be
whip
twirling
ya.
her propeller.
Mama.
So she starts at that center portion, and she's just going to go whip it around and back up. Yep. Around and back up.
Make your whip sound.
Yep. I don't know. What's this whip sound? Yeah.
Oh gosh, super rocky.
Yes, and see how she brought her hands back down to her pelvis to see if she was rocking or not? Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. You did it. All those variations.
Yeah.
Yeah. That will be your last variation of that. So once you're like, I'm so bored with this, I need another challenge, then not the quicker, whippy ones. That's what a whip sounds like.
Yep, there it is.
I couldn't get it there for a minute.